Hello, and welcome. From the news you read to how a bank might approve a loan, automation is, well, it's everywhere. It's working behind the scenes of our daily lives. But as these systems get smarter, we've got to ask a really important question. Are they fair? Today, we're going to dig into the ethics of process automation and figure out how we can build a more responsible future together. I'm your host, and as an automation expert here at WeblineIndia, I get to be in the trenches with this tech every single day. We specialize in all sorts of things: custom software, AI and ML solutions, and of course, N8N automation workflows and business process automation. And I can tell you, the most important conversations we're having, they aren't just about the code, they're about the ethics behind it all. So let's jump right in. So to really get why this conversation is so urgent right now, just look at these numbers. The automation market is absolutely exploding. We're talking about growth of nearly $100 billion in just 5 years. That is a massive wave of technology coming our way, and it's really up to us to make sure we're steering it in the right direction.
Okay, let's start with the big one, right? Fairness. As we let machines make more and more decisions that literally affect our lives, how can we be sure they're not just learning and, repeating our own worst biases?
You see, the biggest problem is something called algorithmic bias. Just imagine an AI that's trained to screen job applications, okay? And it's using a decade of a company's old hiring data. Now, if that company historically favored male candidates, the AI is going to learn that exact pattern, and it'll start rejecting qualified female candidates, not because it's evil or anything, but because it was taught a biased version of reality. That's how unfairness gets baked right into the system itself. So how in the world do we tackle this? Well, it's kind of like a two-pronged approach. On one hand, you have what's called proscriptive ethics. Think of this as playing defense, preventing harm, avoiding biased outcomes. But just as important is prescriptive ethics. This is where we actively play offense. It means using automation to actually promote good, like creating tools that improve accessibility for people, or designing systems that make our jobs more satisfying. In practice, this means following a pretty clear three-step approach. First, it all starts with the data. You have to make sure the information you're feeding an AI is as diverse and representative of the real world as possible. Second, you use smart techniques to actively hunt for and correct any of those hidden biases. And third, you create feedback loops, so the system is constantly learning from how it performs in the real world and hopefully getting fairer over time. Okay, so we've talked about fairness, but what about that other big fear? The one that's been in the back of pretty much everyone's mind since the first robot showed up on a movie screen. Will automation take our jobs? And let's be totally honest here. The numbers can be, staggering. One really influential report from McKinsey estimates that as many as 400 million jobs worldwide could be displaced by automation by 2030. That's a huge shift, and it's not something we can or should just ignore. But here's the other side of that coin. That very same report predicts that automation will also help create 500 million new jobs. So you see, this isn't really a story about jobs disappearing, it's a story about jobs changing. The future of work is going to be less about those repetitive manual tasks and way more about creativity, critical thinking, and complex problem solving. So the crucial point isn't about stopping automation. It's about managing this transition responsibly. That means businesses have a real ethical duty to invest in their people through reskilling, to be transparent about the changes that are coming, and to actually give employees a voice in the whole process. This brings us to our final question, and maybe the trickiest one of all. When an automated system, like a self-driving car or a medical AI, makes a critical mistake, who's to blame? The person who wrote the code? The company that owns it? The person who was using it at the time? Where does the buck stop? The answer, really, it lies in transparency. We need to be able to open up that black box of AI and actually understand its decision-making process. And that's where this fascinating field called explainable AI, or XAI, comes in. It's all about creating systems that can clearly explain their reasoning in a way we humans can understand. This is absolutely essential for building trust and, of course, for establishing accountability. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Automation isn't here to replace us, it's here to help us. It's an incredibly powerful tool, but we have to be the ones in charge. Human oversight is the ultimate safety net, making sure that this incredible technology is always working for us and aligned with our values. So, to quickly recap everything, the path to ethical automation is really built on 4 key pillars. 1. Prioritize fairness right from day one. 2. Support people through the transition with education and new opportunities. 3. Demand transparency from our systems. And 4. Always keep a human in the loop.
These aren't just abstract ideas. They're a practical roadmap for building a better, more equitable future with automation. It's all about finding that perfect balance between pushing innovation forward and being responsible.
If this discussion sparks some ideas for you, and you're curious to see how these principles look in action, you can find a ton of case studies and more resources over on our website at WeblineIndia.com. And hey, the conversation doesn't have to stop here. If you have a specific project in mind or you just want to chat more about these ideas, our team would absolutely love to hear from you. Feel free to drop us a line at info@WeblineIndia.com. To keep up with all the latest trends in automation and ethical tech, be sure to follow us on our social media channels. We're always sharing new insights and continuing this conversation. And of course, if you found this explainer helpful and you want to make sure you don't miss the next one, the best thing you can do is subscribe to our channel.
Thank you so much for watching. Seriously, every like and share helps get this really important conversation out to more people. Let's keep building a better future.